I'm Leon Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, we're going to do a tone tour of my live rig, and I want to share the live preset that I've been using over the last 9.5 weeks with Bernie Dieter's club Kabarett. We just did a Sydney season with 54 shows. I'm back home for a few days, and then I will be going to Ziget Festival in Budapest to play a few more shows with this, using the FM9 for all the guitar sounds. Absolutely loved it. It was so consistent and easy to use live. Before we dive into the preset though, I want to just have a quick little flashback and show you some footage that I filmed while I was on the show of the guitars that I'm using and how my rig actually sounds coming out of the PA in the venue. Then we'll circle back around and I will break down all the elements of the preset. Let's go. All right, here is the rig. I've got two guitars with me on stage at the moment. One is a 2020 PRS DGT, totally stock except for the knobs. It has the coil tap, it's got the three-way, it's got moons, which I love. And guitar number two is the Rubato Lassie, the LT edition, right? So stainless, 24 frets, carbon fiber monocoque, fixed bridge. It's got the freeway, so 6-way switch on there. Porter pickups on here, lumen laid dots, which are very, very handy on this dark stage. And then, of course, the big dog, the FM9. So I'm gonna run through some sounds in just a little bit, but I am running in stereo. I've got basically a Brit 800 mod for a chunky sound, same thing boosted with a 3 dB post-gain boost and the Aurora delay. I've got some trem and reverb. I've got the 5153 doing some chunky stuff. Same thing with the 2290 for a big panning delay in one song. And then I have a big ambient. It's actually the Brit 800 2203. It's the low mode with the Stratocumulus reverb on there. And the Aurora delay, it sounds ridiculous. And then a variation on that with fuzz on it. So I'll let you hear some of those sounds. In fact, I'll let you hear the big fuzzy sound in there because it's quite lush on there. In fact, I called it Lush Plus. So a lot of these I have access to as tap and hold switches. So if I tap and hold that, I get my lead scene. I've got my big ambient sound, press and hold, and I've got the big lush thing, which if you get a bit of the PA is pretty great. Let's take a look at the preset now in depth. The main amp that I'm using, like I mentioned, is the Brit 800 mod. You can see the settings on the screen at the moment. I do have a little bit of a cheeky CC boost engaged in the preamp tab. Otherwise, this one doesn't have any deep tweaks. I just really like the way the Brit 800 mod sounds. We looked at some Marshall variations last week, and I did mention that I was using this one. So I've paired that with my free cab IR. Again, I'm going to offer up the preset and the cab for free if you would like to try it with your guitars. The main thing in here that I will just point out is the low cut is at 80 Hertz in the cab block, but I went with a high cut of 5500 Hertz in here. This one just worked when we were teching and sound checking. That one might come down as low as 5K or go up to as high as 8K on there. But that particular value worked for the band in that particular room with the particular songs we're playing for those acts. So again, experiment with that, but I find that when you're playing at high volume, a high cut around 5 or 6 kilohertz works really well in there. I paired that up with the large room reverb at the stock settings. Absolutely nothing special happening here, aside from the fact that it sounds fantastic. And then a nice big dual detune on here. So 9 cents either side, panned hard left and hard right, mix at 30%, level at 3 dB. The idea here is I just wanted the guitar to sound a little bit wider through the stereo PAs. So let's just have a listen to the core sound. You can hear the effect of that pitch detune on there, just making everything sound a bit wider and fuller, which I find really handy in a 3-piece band setup. The second scene on here, same amp, cab, reverb, and pitch settings, but I have the Aurora delay engaged in here. This is the Aurora effect type in here. I just turned the mix up to 25%. I didn't do anything else in there. I didn't tweak any delay values, but I did engage the Valve Screamer VS9 in front of the amp for more gain. Furthermore, in the output block, I have bumped the scene level of scene 2 by 4 dB over here. So again, that level just seemed to work for the context of this particular band. Anywhere between 3 and 6 dB I find quite reasonable. So let's hear the big greasy lead scene now. And of course, I have a wah attached to an expression pedal in there. I'm just using the Crybabe type. I bought the maximum frequency down to 1800 Hertz. Everything else is stock. I think it's a testament to kind of how little tweaking you really need to do to get what you want out of something like the FM9. The other kind of core amp and effect tone that I use a lot in this show is a clean sound with spring reverb and tremolo. So for the clean sound, I actually went with the Brit 800 2203 low. So I tried to kind of keep it in that theme, a Marshall JCM 800 essentially. Same cab, same reverb, same pitch, but I have the amazing sounding spring tube, or I should say tube spring in here. And I've got the bias tremolo at the stock settings in there. Let's just hear the core clean sound without the reverb and the trem. Then I'll bring in the reverb and then I will bring in the trem. I normally use the neck pickup either on its own or split on here, but we will hear it split. Also got a variation of that with the spring reverb and the trem removed and the Stripe 90 engaged. We use this for playing Sissy Strut. Two other sounds that I use a lot in this show are what I call Lush and a Lush Plus. The only difference is one has a fuzz face engaged on top of the core kind of lush clean tone. So a volume pedal running into the Brit 800 2203 low, paired up with the Aurora delay, but for the big lush reverb, I'm using the Stratocumulus reverb over here, which sounds incredible. And then on top of that, I can kick in the fuzz face for the Lush Plus scene. This one's just so fun to do big volume swells with. Finally, to round things out, you got to have a big chunky high gain scene just for those moments when you want that extra little bit more. So using the 5153 100 watt stealth red, there's a variation of this which uses the 2290 delay. And then I should have mentioned, I've also got the ability to add the deluxe mind guide delay in front of it anywhere I like. I've got a foot switch dedicated to turning this particular block on and off. It's synced up to just do a dotted eighth note rhythmic delay, a kind of real dirty rhythmic delay in front of the amp. And as you saw on the physical unit, I've just got the scenes laid out where I like them. So I've got access to all of my scenes either with tap or tap and hold. I've got a tap tempo foot switch, and I've got the access to that extra delay. But first, let's hear the big crushing 5150. That's how I'm using the FM9 Live at the moment. Hopefully there's some useful tips and tricks for you all to learn from. I'll put the preset bundle up if you would like to download it and try it for yourself. And I would highly encourage you to totally customize it to your tastes and needs. If you have any other further questions, let me know in the comments section below. Otherwise, I will see you all on the next Tuesday Tone Tip. Take it easy.